On the evening of December 4th, 2019, an 8-year-old girl named Alyssa LeMay walked into the bedroom she shared with her 2 younger sisters in DeSoto County, Mississippi. She had heard music coming from inside the room and assumed it was one of her siblings. The room was empty. The music was coming through the Ring camera her mother Ashley had installed 4 days earlier during a Black Friday sale.
She had one and she was, like watching her kids on her phone, and I was like, oh, you can actually speak to them. That's really neat.
Ashley worked overnight shifts as a nurse and had bought the camera so she could check in on her daughters from her phone while she was at work. The music stopped, then a voice.
Who is that?
I'm your best friend. I'm Santa Claus.
You can do whatever you want right now. You can mess up your room. You can break your TV. The voice kept talking. It called itself Santa Claus.
I'm Santa Claus.
It directed racial slurs at the child. Alyssa started screaming for her mother.
Mommy!
Ashley later told reporters she couldn't even get to the end of the video before she ran inside.
I was like, who is this guy?
The family disconnected the camera and returned it. Ring told them the breach was not a failure of Ring's security.
Once they see a Wi-Fi unit, all they have to do is double-click, start guessing the password, and if they guess it, they're on the network.
But rather the result of compromised login credentials from another site. The hacker was never identified. 4 days later, on December 8, 2019, the Brown family in Cape Coral, Florida, was standing in their kitchen when an alarm suddenly blasted through their indoor Ring camera speaker.
What's going on, my main man Shaq? It's your boy Chance on Nold. Welcome to the Noldcast.
The hacker made racist comments directed at the family's son. Their son had not appeared in front of the camera at any point that evening.
Wait, does your child look like an Oreo?
It's very hurtful because, my son is biracial and the comments he made was really hurtful.
He was 15 years old and was elsewhere in the house. That single fact told the family everything they needed to know. The hacker had been inside their feed for days before he ever decided to speak. For nearly 3 minutes, the family stood in their own kitchen and endured it. Eventually, they ripped the batteries from the camera. Ring gave them the same answer they gave everyone else.
Wired cannot be hacked. Somebody has to be in your home, hardwired to your modem to see anything on your network.
Not a breach of Ring's system. The hacker was never found. The night before that, a woman in Brookhaven, Georgia, had just put her puppy in his crate for the night and was lying in bed when she noticed something. The blue indicator light on her Ring camera had switched on. She and her boyfriend had installed the camera specifically to watch their dog Bo while they were at work. The light only comes on when someone is actively viewing the live feed. She texted her boyfriend, "Why are you watching?" "We're laying down. We're about to go to sleep." He replied immediately.
Wake up.
He had no idea what she was talking about. He wasn't watching. Then the voice came through.
I can see you in the bed. Come on, wake the f up.
"I can see you in the bed. Come on, wake the fugsman up." She said later she was so terrified she literally could not move her body. When the couple went back through their account history, they found the same person had accessed their feed on 4 separate occasions. The same account. 4 separate times they had been watched without knowing it. Ring gave them the same response. Compromised password. The hacker was never found. That same week, in Sarpy County, Nebraska, a man named Adam was home with his children when a voice started coming through the indoor Ring camera mounted in their kitchen. His daughter was sitting on the couch watching TV. Adam walked in, heard something, and looked toward the television.
I explained to them I wish they would have pushed that out to people because they did not set that up.
Then he realized the sound wasn't coming from the TV. He pulled out his phone and checked the Ring app.
Hey, what show is that? You hungry?
What?
The voice on the other end kept going, asking what he was watching, trying to keep him engaged. Adam shut the camera off and contacted Ring. They told him an unidentified phone had logged into the account. They couldn't trace it. They told him to change his password and enable 2-factor authentication. The hacker was never identified. In Staten Island, New York, a 13-year-old boy was home alone after school. He was eating in front of the family's camera when a man's voice started talking to him through the device.
Hello? I see you.
What?
I see you. How you doing? How's your day?
The voice asked him his name, asked if he played video games, kept the conversation going as if this were normal. The boy answered. He didn't know what else to do. After the call ended, he locked himself in a room and waited for his parents to come home. Police were contacted. Nothing came of it. In November 2020, police in Decatur, Georgia, received an anonymous call reporting a shooting inside a home. 10 officers responded. The homeowners had no idea what was happening.
I didn't know what was going on, scared to make any sudden moves.
They let the officers search the house. Nothing was found. As the officers were leaving, a voice came through the Ring doorbell camera mounted at the front of the house. "Yo, I'm the one who called. Look in the camera. This is the 15th one today. We do this all over the United States." The family had been swatted. Someone hacked their Ring doorbell, pulled their address from the account data, and called in a fake shooting to send armed police to their front door. Swatting has killed people. Officers have shot and killed residents during swatting responses. 2 men were later federally indicted for a series of swatting incidents across the country that week. Kaya Christian Nelson of Wisconsin and James Thomas Andrew McCarty of North Carolina. They had gained access to Ring accounts by hacking victims' Yahoo email accounts, then placing bogus emergency calls and live streaming the police response on social media. Nelson was eventually sentenced to 44 months in federal prison. The next case involves no hack, no stolen password, no outside criminal. The person watching was someone who already had access and used it as a weapon. Fariel Najam was a Canadian fashion model who had spent her career in front of cameras she agreed to stand in front of. By her late 30s, she was in a long-term relationship with a partner she describes as quietly controlling. He wouldn't just touch base with a text. He would call me on FaceTime and ask to say hi to the person I was with. She moved into his home in the United States. The house had a fully integrated smart home system. Lights, heating, blinds, security cameras, a whole home audio setup, all of it running through a single platform her partner had configured and held the credentials for. When the relationship fell apart, he moved to a different city. Fariel stayed. His login stayed running everything around her. She started waking up in the middle of the night to music blasting through every speaker in the house at full volume, then cutting off the moment she stood up. Lights would switch back on after she turned them off for the night. TVs would come on and shut off the second she reached for the remote. She told herself it was the system glitching.
He was able to monitor me, using our security surveillance cameras.
Then the messages from her ex started arriving, referencing what she had been wearing that day, who had walked in through the front door with her. He was watching through every camera in the house and using every connected device to make sure she knew it.
Even remotely, from thousands of miles away, you're never outside the reach of your abuser.
He sent direct threats. "I'm going to go after the dogs, and then I'm going to go after you." She called the police. They told her there was nothing they could do. The house wasn't in her name. She had no access to the system, no credentials, no way to shut any of it off.
These companies need to catch up. The laws and the protective policies need to catch up because tech abuse is a growing problem.
She took her dogs and left. She went to a local women's shelter. In January 2019, a family in Lake Barrington, Illinois, had all 17 of their Nest cameras, 2 thermostats, and their full home security system hacked through a single compromised account password. The hacker spoke directly to their 7-month-old baby through the nursery camera speaker.
"Where are you? Which country?"
India.
You're all crazy. Okay, nurses. Bye.
What's that?
Then cranked the nursery thermostat to 90 degrees. When the parents brought the baby downstairs, the hacker followed them through a different camera and started taunting them directly.
And continuing to taunt me.
It was terrifying.
Hurling racial slurs, watching their movements in real time. When the father stared into the lens, the hacker said, "Why are you looking at me? I see you watching me." The father composed himself and talked back, trying to get a name, a location, anything. The hacker went silent. No arrest was ever made, and between 2014 and 2020, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, a man named Telesforo Aviles spent 17 years working as an ADT security technician. During installations, he would add his personal email to customer accounts under the guise of testing the camera connection. He never removed it. Over 4.5 years, he silently accessed roughly 200 customer accounts more than 9,600 times. He specifically targeted homes where he found women attractive. Court filings showed he watched women undressed, preparing for bed, and during private moments. At one home with 5 children, he logged in 361 times. He was eventually caught when a customer noticed an unfamiliar email on their account. Avils pleaded guilty to computer fraud in January 2021 and was sentenced to 52 months in federal prison. ADT had no automated system to flag the same email appearing across hundreds of accounts. They never voluntarily alerted customers while it was happening. On the evening of September 30th, 2017, Rilana Hammer came home to her house in Brummen, a small, quiet town in the eastern Netherlands, and started putting away groceries. She lived alone with her dog. A few weeks before, she had picked up a small indoor security camera from her local discount store, Action, for about 35 euros. It was a Maxter unit, white plastic, a motorized base that could rotate across the room. She set it up on a shelf in the living room so she could check on her dog during the day. She was in the kitchen when she heard a low mechanical sound from the living room. She walked in and saw the camera rotating on its own, slowly turning back and forth across the room. Her phone was sitting on her bed in the next room. She assumed it was a glitch and went back to the kitchen. A few minutes later, the sound came back. The camera stopped, turned, and pointed directly at her. Then a voice came through the speaker.
Hello.
Bonjour, madame, she asked who was there. No answer. She stepped to the side of the room to test it. The camera tracked her and followed her across the room. Hello, madame. Is everything all right?
Hello. Do you want French?
Sorry?
It's not.
No! Get the fuck out of my house, now!
She crossed the room and pulled the plug from the wall. That evening, a friend came over for dinner. They decided to plug it back in and record what happened. Rilana held her phone up. It took less than a minute. The camera rotated, found her, and the voice came back, this time in Spanish. Hola, señorita? She posted the video to Facebook. Within days, it had gone viral, and Dutch national news had picked it up. When a technology journalist investigated, the explanation was almost too simple to believe. Every camera the manufacturer shipped came loaded with the exact same default password, 123. The device ID was printed on a sticker on the bottom of the unit. With those two things and the free app, anyone in the world could connect to any of these cameras, see the live feed, hear through the microphone, and speak through the speaker. The manual noted the default password was weak and advised changing it. The app itself, the thing people actually use during setup, never once prompted anyone to do that. Nobody reads the full manual for a 35 euro camera from a discount store. You download the app and start. Rilana had no idea a password change was even necessary. The journalist then tested it himself. Using only the manual and the free app, he accessed 4 separate households within minutes. 4 different families. None of them knew.